President of Imani Africa, Selorm Branttie. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us here on the Election Hub on GHOne Television and on Star 103.5. Mr. Branttie, can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. I hope you're well.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And good morning to you and all the viewers and listeners out there.
Now, prior to this election, you were quite upfront with regard to the need for the cycle to change. Why did you think it was necessary to embark on this campaign?
Could you please repeat the question again?
Okay. I think prior to the election, you were at the forefront, or you were quite upfront with the need for there to be a change. And I'm asking why you embarked on that campaign.
Well, I believe that, first of all, a lot of Ghanaian voters agreed with my sentiment. And it was because the country was spinning into a very dangerous spiral of poor governance. The expectations that we had from the current government in terms of what they could offer or what they could perform or what their capabilities were far different from what they eventually delivered. And for some of us, we believe that the level of governance was so poor that a lot of pillars of our democracy as we see it today were in danger. And in such a situation, this country was not going to be able to survive a lot of things, including a very poor economic shock, corruption, and mostly corruption and very poor economic shocks. So these were the things that for some of us were very important to save the soul of the nation. And our cause have been justified because a lot of Ghanaians also felt the same way, and it's reflected in the polls.
And were you surprised by the margin in terms of the votes? Were you surprised, or are you surprised?
Well, I initially, and for some of us and my colleagues, our projections were around the 52 percentage points. The day before the elections, we revised it to somewhere around 53. But for the gap that we have seen, it was very surprising for some of us. And we were very shocked because I wouldn't say, don't use the word shocked, but we were very surprised because we never expected such a gap in this outcome. This is the first time, I think, since the Rawlings era, that we have had a gap so wide. This just means that the verdict was really very resounding. And for some of us, I think that it is a cautionary tale for any new government coming in that the Ghanaian voter is now more voting more on issues and how they feel than any other previous sentiments that they might have had.
And one of the major things that is coming with this particular election is that the NDC is going to have a swelling majority in Parliament. The party is putting it at 185. That is 2/3 of Parliament, and they would not need the other side around for decisions to be taken or for very serious business. Does it have any implications at all with regard to how Parliament would go?
It has very huge implications. In fact, the arrogance of the NPP has now created a virtual autocracy for the NDC. And these are some of the things that I would say the NPP has brought on itself and also on all Ghanaians. Because now we are going to have a parliament that is literally a rubber stamp parliament. And for the purposes of strengthening our democracy, we normally would have a position that has a bit of strength. But unfortunately, I believe that the NPP has done Ghanaians a disservice, even beyond the elections, because their level of tone-deafness has resulted in this anarchy. And for a democracy that always wants to be able to have checks and balances, it is not a very good sign to have such an overwhelming majority, especially in the kind of age in which we have ourselves, where governments tend to abuse their power when they are very comfortable. However, we believe and we hope that civil society actors will be able to balance this lopsided nature of how things are, and then hopefully we can have vibrant discussions on how to build this country forward as one of the best economies in Africa.
Now, you say that the arrogance of the NPP has created an autocracy for the NDC because of the numbers. Now, there are those who say that, in 1996, even though the NDC had an overwhelming majority with Rawlings being there, then the then minority was very effective too, despite it not being, not having so many people as well.
Like I'm saying, there is this popular adage that we all know that power corrupts, absolute power corrupts.
That's true.
Absolutely. The thing about it is that we are now in a situation where this can be used as a very good weapon to probably change some aspects of our laws that have been a sore, a sore point that needs to be changed. And I believe that if the NDC is going to be very prudent, those are some of the things that they will look at. Some of the legal provisions we have in our constitution, etc., that require a two-thirds majority to pass in Parliament to ensure some sanity in certain areas. I believe that in the coming days, a lot of experts are going to examine some of these things and make some of these suggestions so that it could be one of the positive legacies of having this level of majority, so that certain constitutional provisions that we all believe are outmoded or do not belong in our dispensation can be catered for. And I believe that that would be one of the best services the NDC can deploy, especially with the advantage of the two-thirds majority that they now possess. And these are the kinds of things that we will be looking out for and hoping that will be done. I don't believe that we should be negative at this point, but we should look at it as that kind of blessing that will help with some of these things to happen. It's early days yet, and Ghanaians have spoken and have spoken very loudly. So our faith for the next 4 years has been invested in the NDC government, and then we are all just looking forward to see how best we can Ghana or reset Ghana from the mess in which we find ourselves today.
And you say that we are all looking forward to resetting the country from the mess we are in at the moment. When the NDC officially take office on January 7, what do you think should be their priority?
Priority should be the economy. Their priority should be looking at how we can improve our ratings. First of all, any smart innovations they have around arresting the inflationary trend that we have, the depreciating cedi, taxes are going to be a big thing, and then also agriculture, because we are going to face a mini food crisis early next year. Because a lot of grain crops failed. So the NDC immediately will have to have answers to those within the first 3 months. And how they answer those will determine how the rest of the year will begin to look like. But they will need to have very important short-term measures to keep the economy on track. And I believe that the transition team that they have put in place will have the necessary tools to do that. Working with the current administration to ensure some continuity, and then at least keep the cedi within a certain threshold of stability. That will be the first thing. And then, like they have said in their 120-day pledge, abolished some taxes that have been that are nuisance taxes that have also been causing some kind of hardship on people, and then import duties. But that would also mean that we'll have to find other ways to carve revenue for the state, and those will be the main things that they'll need to do within the first quarter of being in power.
Right, and on that point, Selorm Branttie, Lantam here, how easy or difficult do you think it would be for an NDC administration to be able to do these things that you expect them to do, given the current state of our economy, given the domestic debt exchange program that we have gone through, given the debt that we are saddled with in this country, which we have to find a way to pay off, among other things, in terms of having fiscal space to be able to work with? How easy or difficult do you anticipate that it's going to be for the NDC administration?
It's a tough call. It's a very tough call. It will have to require some very, very smart, innovative economic decisions. But I believe that the balance of goodwill is heavily tipped in NDC's favor at the moment. And that's what that means is that they will probably have a more open mind as to the kind of interventions they can implement.
Okay.
And it is that open mind that would allow them to probably make use of as many technocrats and experts that they can have to diagnose the situation. I believe one of the biggest things is to plug revenue leaks that come through because of procurement, abuses and corruption, which have been one of the biggest reasons why we are also where we are. And if the NDC can identify those loopholes or those leaks and plug them immediately, at least in the short term, they can be able to come up with certain solutions and then maybe improve the kind of leverage they have in terms of the fiscal space to create some kind of, bridge solutions to ensure that we can put the economy back on track. Once we're able to plug some of that, I'm sure that even with what I have seen so far, or some of the scandals that have come out, we can see, for example, how much money are going into certain pockets. And if we can even start flagging some of those, then some of the immediate needs that we have, we can begin to look at them, whilst in the medium to long term, these things now aggregately will become positive.